Hey there, fellow explorers. Today, we just wanted to go over our cruise. Hopefully you've already watched those videos. We just went on an 11-night cruise through Northern Europe. It was unreal.
So much fun.
But we wanted to talk about, go day by day and, things we loved, maybe some things we didn't like, maybe some, tips to help you on your upcoming Disney cruise. Well, let's get into it. I'm ready. You ready?
So ready. Let's go.
Where are they going? What'll they see? It's J&T Exploring.
So I guess we'll obviously start with embarkation day. I think the biggest tip or trick for embarkation is actually pre-cruise. Make sure you keep refreshing to get the earliest boarding time you possibly can.
Yeah, absolutely. We are big proponents of don't show up for a cruise the day of. Don't fly in the day of your cruise. There's so many things that can go wrong with your flight, or even if you're driving a long distance. You just never know what can happen. So we always show up for a cruise the day before, or sometimes we've shown up actually a couple days before if we're doing a little trip pre-cruise. But at least we like to give ourselves a night before we get on the ship.
Yeah, there's only been, I think, one time that we flew in the same day.
Yes.
And that was when we flew to San Diego for our cruise to Mexico. And we didn't have any issues, but it's a risk that you don't really want to take.
Yeah.
You definitely don't want that cruise ship to leave without you on it.
Right. Well, and like you said, then if you're there the day before and you have a night ahead, then you can book the earliest boarding time possible, and then you have extra time on the ship. Which is, as soon as I'm on vacation as soon as the plane takes off, right? But, As soon as I'm on that ship, we're on a cruise. Even if we're still moored to the docks. As soon as I can get on that ship, I want to get on that ship.
Yeah.
And then everything starts. Plus, it's nice because you can hit, the buffet, or you can hit, the pools or things like that before the ship starts to really fill up with people. So you can sort of have a quieter time on the ship if you get there really early.
Yeah. Plus, if you're unfamiliar with the ship, it's a nice time to walk around, get familiar with the spaces, where everything is,
right,
before it's jam-packed full of people.
Well, but your room's not going to be ready when you first get on the ship anyway, until later in the afternoon.
Right.
So there's really not, I don't want to say there's nothing to do, but it's a really good time to just wander and find out where things are on the ship if you're not familiar.
Yeah, I totally agree. Also, for embarkation day, make sure that you have all of your essential things packed with you in your day bag. So your passports, all of your boarding information to get on the ship, any medications you might need, and then you might want to pack a swimsuit or wear a swimsuit under your clothes, because like Thomas just said, your room won't be ready for a few hours. So if you do want to hit up the pool, you want to make sure you're ready for that.
Also, just take the day bag with you. There are porters at every cruise terminal who will take your luggage with the Disney Cruise Line luggage tags they give you to your room. We see so many people on embarkation day and disembarkation day who are just hauling their bags around the whole ship, and you don't have to. Just bring a little backpack, take what you need in that, and they will take your bags for you.
Yeah. Also, if you, for some reason, didn't receive your luggage tags before you get to the ship, as long as you know your room number, they have blank tags, they'll write it on there, and they can still take care of your bags.
Yeah, it's super easy. Another big thing, I think, for embarkation day is you're gonna have to go to the muster drill. Ever since, COVID declined, they went back to, an in-person muster drill, which is my least favorite.
I know.
I love the muster drill just on my phone. Anyway, but the muster drill is a mandatory safety briefing that you have to go to. So everyone meets at their spots and you go over where to go in case of an emergency. And always right after the muster drill is the sail away party up on the top deck at the pool. And it is insane getting from that muster drill up to the pool deck. So my biggest tip is don't even try to take the elevator unless you absolutely have to. If you can take the stairs, hoof it up the stairs. Because waiting for that elevator, you'll be there for a half hour. You're gonna miss the party.
Yeah, it's crazy. Everyone's waiting for those elevators, and they can only hold so many people.
Yeah, they're small elevators.
So
just take the stairs. That's a good rule of thumb anyway on all throughout the cruise. We sometimes we'll take the elevator, but really we just take the stairs.
Yeah.
And-
It's easier.
Yeah, and we usually like to book a floor, like our room on a floor that's sort of in the middle of the ship. Like we usually do like deck 7, or like this last time we were on deck 8. And that way we're like in between. A lot of the stuff is on decks 3 and 4, and a lot of the stuff is on decks like 11 and 12. So then you're like in the middle, so you never really have to go too far one way or the other.
Yeah.
Also, on embarkation day, if you are on a sailing and you want like sailing specific merch, if they have it, like for our trip, there was Northern European specific cruise merchandise. There was 25th anniversary merchandise.
Was there though?
I know. So the shops can't open while they're in port. They have to wait till they take off, and they'll have the opening times of the shops posted. But that first day of your cruise, if you're on like, especially a long one that has like specific merch like that, it's not a bad idea if there's something you really, really want that's specific to that sailing to line up outside the store. There was quite the queue when we were on this last cruise for merchandise. So it was 6 o'clock when they opened the stores on our sailing, and like as soon as 6 o'clock came, they had to limit how many people could come in the store because there were so many people waiting in line. And I think within the first 30 seconds, everything 25th anniversary anybody wanted was like gone.
Yep.
Spirit jerseys gone, like it was all just gone. So if there's something really, or like I've had that experience with like the ship specific Spirit jerseys in my size. Sometimes if I don't get it the first night, I won't get it because all my sizes are sold out. So if there's something you have your heart set on, it's not a bad idea to wait outside the store and go in and get it as soon as the shops open that first night. Then your shopping's done, and the rest of the time you can just sort of like meander in and out of the shops and see if there's something you didn't see that maybe you want throughout the rest of your sailing. But that first night is like pivotal if there's anything you specifically want.
Yeah, it gets crazy really fast.
Mm-hmm. And the retail teams on board are great, and they do a good job of like restocking or refacing things and making the store look full your whole cruise, no matter how like sold out of things you are. But it's just like, yeah, certain things will just be gone, and then you might not get another opportunity.
Yeah. So then the next day we were in Kiel, Germany. Beautiful. Germany is absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, we were up in northern Germany. That's where Kiel is, and like, I actually just ran into some people from Germany the other day who were like, "Oh my god, that's like the real Germany up there." So it was just funny, but it was like really beautiful with the lakes and like the forests, and
Yeah.
I loved it up there.
Yeah, very storybook-esque. When you have a port excursion booked through Disney, it's really important that you pay attention to what time and where you're supposed to meet for your port excursion, because you want to make sure you get checked in. And if you, for some reason, decide not to go that day, they will still charge you.
Mm-hmm.
Just so you know.
Well, I would always recommend be early to whatever. Like if it says meet at 9:30, like be there at like 9:15, because you don't want to be the reason that you don't want everybody else in the group to be like waiting, and they're like, well, 2 people still haven't checked in.
Yeah.
So like, be there early. Maybe you'll get to go out to port a little bit earlier, and your excursion will get to start a little bit earlier.
Sometimes you will have to wait a little while for like the bus to be ready or the actual tour to be ready for you, but most of the time it's better to be early rather than late.
Yeah, always. It's better to be early rather than late.
Yeah.
We always like to book a port excursion through Disney if we're gonna go, like, if there's something specific we want to go see, because if you book it through Disney, then you're guaranteed that the ship's not gonna leave you if you're running late, which is like I'm willing to pay for that safety net.
Yeah. Another big thing for me booking through Disney is I trust Disney, and Disney trusts these specific tour companies, which means I can trust those tour companies.
Yeah, I know like the vetting process that they have for different tour excursion companies is like much more intense than other cruise lines.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm never worried at all. We've never had a bad experience.
No, and there are places that we've been that we now feel like we could go out and do stuff on our own without doing a port excursion.
Sure.
But especially the first time that I go to a country that I've never been to before, it's nice to have some reassurance that you are going to get back to the ship. They're not going to leave you.
Right.
You're going to be with someone trusted.
Mm-hmm. Well, and sometimes it's hard because like on this cruise, so take Germany for example, there was Kiel where we made port, but there wasn't really much in Kiel.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to go explore Germany, you really had to get outside of Kiel, and that gets more difficult if you're not with an excursion, if you're not on a bus, if you're trying to figure out public transit, which like we love taking public transit, but sometimes it's not everybody's comfortable with that, and sometimes it's more difficult, or like paying for a taxi. So I just think a lot of times it's quite frankly just easier to book an excursion. But if you're unsure, if you're in a new place, I do think an excursion's like the way to go.
And you can book them outside of the cruise line. Like if you just search for, I think just excursions in this specific place, a bunch of tours and stuff will pop up. But
Totally.
for me, it's worth it to pay a little bit extra for the like extra perk of making sure I'm not going to be left behind.
On the same note of being punctual, if you book a tour, like a bus tour, where you go to different places throughout the day, and you like stop and get off the bus and explore and get back on the bus, go somewhere else, blah, blah, blah. Don't be that person who's the last one on the bus. Don't be the person that the tour guide has to chase down and try and find while everyone's on the bus waiting. Don't be that person. Everyone wants to go see the next thing. And on a bus tour we took, not on this cruise, but previously on a cruise, we actually missed out on a stop we were supposed to go to because people took too long to get back to the bus. It's like we had to skip an entire stop.
And that was the stop that I think I wanted to go to the most.
Yeah. So like, you just don't want to be that person, right? Everyone's there and wants to enjoy the same trip. Like you all booked the same excursion because you wanted to see the things on it. So just be considerate of everyone and make sure that you're like not the person everyone's waiting on to get back on the bus.
Yeah. Also, just remember to be kind to the people in the country that you're visiting. You're a visitor. You're in their home. So just remember to be polite and kind.
Yeah, specifically when we were in Germany, we were sat at a table. On our excursion, they stopped at this like cottage and gave us lunch, and it was great.
Oh, it was delicious.
We were sat at a table with some other people on our excursion who were not very nice to the servers at this restaurant, who, by the way, were trying to deal with like 100 people who had just shown up all at once while running a restaurant on the other half.
Yeah.
So like they were dealing with a lot, and like not even like there wasn't even a problem with service.
No.
Like it wasn't slow. Like they did great, but the people at the table with us were just like not nice to them. They were condescending with like the language barrier, and like it just makes such a difference understanding that like you're visiting. Yes, this is your vacation, and yes, you've probably paid a lot of money for it, but like also this is like people's lives, and like they're at work for the day, and just like I don't know, understand where you are. And the opportunity you have to be there is not like something you're entitled to.
And it doesn't cost you anything to be nice to people.
No, and we've mentioned it before, but like even the tiny things like learning how to say thank you in whatever language you're going to. I mean, anytime, when we were in Germany, anytime I said, you know, Dankeschön, like I could tell they cared.
Yeah.
That like I had made an effort. Because a lot of times, you know, you deal with the people who won't make an effort. So it's really important to me to do that and show like gratitude and respect to whoever's my host in that moment, wherever I am.
Yes. Another big thing that we didn't mention when you're getting off of the ship is to make sure that you have your key to the world card and an ID.
So it can be like your passport or your driver's license. The local authorities will more often than not check your ID as you're getting back on the ship. And you need your key to the world card to tap off of the ship and to tap back onto the ship so that they have a log of who's on board and who's not. Which, don't be that person. Don't be a dock runner. Oh my gosh. And they'll call your name.
Yeah.
By the way, they go over the PA system over the whole ship, and they say, so and so staying on this deck, please call guest services, and everyone is out on their balconies just like watching for you. It's like, don't be that person.
Yeah.
I would lose my mind if I was that person.
I know.
I'm always scared. When we get done with an excursion and there's like only an hour before the ship leaves, I'm like, oh my god, we gotta go. We gotta get to the ship. Like I get stressed. You know what I mean? I'm like, they're gonna leave.
Make sure you're back on time. Make sure you're back before on time, honestly.
Yes, those poor, the cast members are like standing there at the gangway, just like waiting. Just waiting for people. This last time, well, that's another part. We'll talk about anyway. This night on the ship, we also went and saw one of the stage shows. And so a good rule of thumb too is if you want a good spot for the stage show, the theater opens about like a half hour to 20 minutes before the show starts. So if you want a good seat, go then. Because the theater, if it's for like the big Disney stage shows, it'll fill up really quick.
Yeah.
Especially on the last night of a cruise, like it'll fill up.
Yeah.
So make sure if you want a good spot for the show that you queue up a little bit in advance. Also, just a heads up, we ran into this issue, well, we didn't run into this issue, but some people on our cruise ran into this issue on the first night, but remember that dining on a cruise is communal. So like, if you're a party of 2, you will probably be sat with at least one other party of 2, because there's only so much space on the ship and they just like can't give every party their own table. So the people we were sat with on the first night seemed pretty surprised and like not happy to be sat with another couple. And they ended up requesting a table on their own. It was a whole thing. It was fine. We had a table by ourselves the rest of the cruise, which well, it was fine. I didn't mind at all. But like honestly, part of the fun, I feel like if they're fun and conversational people, I love like, oh, where are you from? And like, we're from here. And like, what did you do at port today? And here's what we did at port today. And like, it's fun getting to know people.
I think that's one of my favorite parts about sitting with different people while you're on a cruise is we probably did different excursions. And so then I can listen to what you did, and then maybe the next time I come back, if I am lucky enough to go back, I can do that.
I mean, like, we're not cruising the world because we hate going new places and meeting new people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So just a reminder to everyone out there, dining on a cruise is communal. You can request a table by yourselves if you want prior to your cruise, but if you don't, they will most likely sit you with another travel party. So like, make the best of it.
We usually have a great time with the other people that we're sat with.
Yeah. We have yet to have a terrible time. If you're liking this video, please give us a thumbs up and a subscribe. It really helps us out. So then our next day on this cruise was a sea day. Which we love. If you're worried about a sea day, our first time we had a sea day on a cruise, we were nervous. We were like, are we gonna get bored? Like, what are we gonna do? Don't be nervous.
They offer so many activities. So many activities. You can do pretty much anything you want, or you can do nothing at all, if that's what you would rather.
Yeah, they have classes like every half hour, every 15 minutes. Like, there's always something going on the ship. Or like Jamie said, you just sit at the pool and do nothing. Or like sit in your room and do nothing. You can go to a movie. You can sit like, there's no end to what a sea day can hold for you.
There's trivia, there's animation classes, there's jewelry classes.
Craft classes.
Yep, crafts.
Towel animal classes. Cooking classes.
Yep.
Yeah, this specific sea day, we did a anyone can cook class, which was adults only, which, just so you know, if you go to the adult only anyone can cook class, they just give you wine.
Yeah, free wine.
We didn't know. They just set wine at our table and we were like, okay. It was 11 in the morning, but all right.
Sea days can also be very chill. Like we just said, you sleep in, you can just lounge around the pool or the decks, get a coffee.
Go to Cove, get a coffee. This was also the day I think we had our DVC thing.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, if you're a Disney Vacation Club, they have like a meeting where all the Disney Vacation Club members come in and we like talk about Disney Vacation Club. There's free drinks, there's like a game show, people like win little prizes and stuff. It's a good time. Also, if you're interested in becoming DVC, they will always also have like a meeting for people who aren't DVC if you want to learn more about it. And then, here's a tip. After that meeting, if you set up a time to just literally talk to a DVC advisor or ambassador who's on the ship, they'll give you $50 stateroom credit. Yeah. Literally just, like, you don't have to sign up to be DVC. You just have to go meet with them and they'll just give you $50 in stateroom credit.
Yeah.
So like if you're interested anyway, like, what's the downside?
It doesn't hurt to ask one question.
Yeah.
So this particular day was also formal night, which on Disney Cruise Line is more of a suggestion, it's not mandatory whatsoever. It's fun to like get dressed up. It's supposed to be like the night where you meet and greet with the crew of the ship.
Like the officers.
Yeah, but they have cute like photo backdrops that you can have your photo taken. All of the characters are dressed up in fancy clothes for formal night.
And because you're supposed to meet with like the officers of the ship, there's also, it's called the captain's reception if you're looking at like your daily activities on the Navigator. So in the atrium, there's free drinks again. So there's just like servers walking around with trays and trays and trays of free drinks, which also be nice to them, okay? They got bombarded. Every single time they came out, like people were like lunging onto them to get these free drinks. Like, just be nice, everybody.
Yeah.
Crazy. I love a free drink as much as the next person, but like, take a breath. But it's great. I like James said, it's always so fun. I love like getting dressed up in my formal wear and like everyone else is dressed up nice and we're all just like, I don't know, there's something like, it makes me feel fancy.
Yeah, and it's just fun to see everyone dressed up.
And if you're on like a longer cruise, I think it's 5 nights and on, there's always like an official formal night. On less than that, it's usually just like, oh, I think today is like formal night, but it's not usually like official.
Yeah.
But you can always tell if you go to the dinner section on your Navigator app for the day and you go to like where your dinner is, there'll be a dress code. Most days say cruise casual, but there'll be one that says formal. And then you'll be like, oh, that's formal night. And so you'll know that that's, so you're not the person who's like in jeans and a t-shirt when you packed something nice, but you didn't wear it that night.
Yeah.
So if you packed something for formal night, just check your dinner dress code and it'll say whether it's formal or not.
But again, not mandatory at all. People still show up to dinner in like jeans and a t-shirt and it's totally fine.
Yeah, totally. They're not gonna like kick you out.
No.
This date was also where we had our rum tasting, our alcohol tasting. And I loved that.
Yeah, it was really fun. It was in the Meridian Bar, which is the bar between Apollo and Remy. Which the only time I've really spent time in there was when we did a Behind the Magic tour. So it was nice to like actually be up there and have a drink. It was a really small class. I think there were 8 of us, but it was really fun. I felt like I learned a lot.
Gabriel was the name of our bartender who led our alcohol tasting and our rum tasting, and he was great. The people in there were great. It was super fun. The alcohol tastings, if you are someone who drinks, the alcohol tastings, one, are a really good value. You get a lot of alcohol for not a lot of money.
Yeah.
And 2, if you're like us and like want to learn more about like different alcohols, there's such a great way. You know, we've learned so much about like wine and rum and tequilas and just from taking these alcohol tastings on the cruise lines. The bartenders are so knowledgeable and like they are just a font of knowledge and they make it so accessible.
Yeah, we really enjoyed this class. So the next day we made port in Nynäshamn, Sweden, and we had an excursion booked to go to Stockholm, which was really fun. I really loved Stockholm.
I did too.
Architecture was beautiful. There is so much water in Stockholm.
Yeah. Well, it's an island.
Yeah, I don't think I knew that until we went.
We learned that Stockholm meant log island.
Yeah.
So that was cool.
Yeah. They used to have like a log gate around the city and they would only like let you in if you were allowed to come into the city, so, which is why they called it Log Island.
Pretty typical bus tour. We went around, we went to some churches, we went to the palace. Our guide, Elizabeth, was super awesome.
I really liked Elizabeth. She was very passionate about the city that she lives in. You could just tell from the way that she talked about her city how much she loved it and how much she loved sharing it with other people.
Yeah, and that's infectious.
Yeah.
I absolutely love that. It was actually really funny because she lives in Stockholm. So like this is the first time it's ever happened, but like we were on the bus tour and we were headed back after our excursion on the bus ride from Stockholm to Nynäshamn, and like the bus driver just dropped her off at like her apartment and she was like, bye, thanks, and then we just like left her and like went the rest of the way, and I was like, all right. But like typically on the drive back from a bus excursion, they don't usually say much anyway.
Yeah.
It's usually when everyone on the bus falls asleep.
Yeah.
So it was fine, but it was just like so bizarre to be like, okay, well, like, okay, bye, see you later. It was weird.
And then once we got back to Nynäshamn, we walked around the little port town for a little while.
Yeah, we went down to the harbor, we went up to the city, because when we still had like 6 hours, I think, in port.
It was a long port day.
Yeah. So we still had a ton of time left. And the Nynäshamn is like small, so no matter where we went, we weren't far from the ship.
Yeah.
So I was never like worried about getting back to the ship. But that was fun. And like, Nynäshamn was really fun because they had like lines on the ground. And if you wanted to go to like the city center, you just followed that line. And if you wanted to go to the harbor, you just followed that line.
Yeah.
So they made it really easy. Oh, and Nynäshamn was cool because the dock that we pulled into was like retractable.
Yeah.
It was so crazy. It like accordioned out to the ship, and then you were on the dock, and then when like before we pulled away, it like retracted back flat against like the land. It was cool.
Yeah, it was really cool.
I've never seen that before.
No. Sweden also is just like gorgeous. It's very like rocky and like pine trees, very green.
And then our next day was another sea day, which was great. This day we had a martini tasting, which was in the Skyline bar. Ironically, it was also led by Gabriel, who did our rum tasting.
Yep.
So that was just like funny. That's never happened before where the
No.
same person has done all of our classes. But this was great. I learned that like I love an espresso martini.
I had never had a real martini until this class. So I really liked learning about martinis and what makes a martini a martini.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just put something in a glass and call it a martini.
That it was really or like the culture of olives.
Yeah.
Like getting 2 olives and
Yeah.
like sharing it. And, like I don't know. It was really fun to learn about all of that.
And I think that's something that I really like about the bartenders that lead these classes is they really are like storytellers. And you get so much more than just alcohol out of a class.
Totally. Not only do you get like knowledge, but like it's just like a fun time. You know what I mean? It almost feels like you're in a room full of strangers, but it almost feels like you're like out with your friends.
Yeah.
I mean, the spirit is just so like convivial and communal.
Yeah. Everyone's like making jokes and
Yeah,
having
yeah.
fun.
Yeah, it's a good time. And drinking.
And drinking.
So like that helps.
Lowers everyone's inhibitions just a bit.
Just a little bit, yeah.
I definitely, if you're a lightweight though, I would be careful with the martini one. It's a lot of alcohol,
Yes.
and even I like felt the alcohol after that class.
Yeah. Well, and that's like, if you go to an alcohol class, you're not required to finish all of the alcohol
No.
they give you. Like I usually do because like I'm not a lightweight at all. It takes quite a lot of alcohol for me to like feel anything, so I'm never worried about like getting too tipsy.
Yeah.
But like if you are, or even if you're not like a big alcohol drinker but you want to learn about it, like it's fine if you don't finish all the drinks they give you. Like that's no one's gonna be like, what? You know what I mean?
Yeah, no. It's totally fine. But so just be aware, like it can be a lot of alcohol. Don't feel like you have to finish the drinks.
Yeah, you know you. Don't push yourself harder than you need to go. You don't want to be that messy drunk walking around the ship. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Also this day, I'm pretty sure we played bingo. Bingo is a lot of fun on Disney Cruise Line. They don't have a casino, so this is kind of their answer to that.
The gambling.
Yeah, because you do pay to play, but then there is like cash prizes that you win if you win bingo.
What did they win on our cruise just barely?
The mega one?
Yeah.
Over $10,000.
Yeah!
One person won over $10,000.
Oh my god!
It was crazy.
It was insane.
And I was so jealous.
Oh my god, yeah, wouldn't it be nice? I have fun regardless.
Yeah, the cast and crew that run bingo are really fun.
Yeah.
And it's just an event.
Yeah, we always recommend go to bingo.
At least one time.
Yeah, it's just so fun. Our next port was Fredericia in Denmark, which was adorable.
It's like the tiniest little town. They had a children's marching band come out and greet the ship.
It was such a big deal for them that we were there, and like, I felt so special.
Yeah.
The whole town came out to see us come in and to see us leave.
Yeah.
Like, and Disney was like literally the whole town had come out to see us leave, right? And there was a band playing, and like people had come out in Disney ears, like Disney shirts, just to like wave goodbye to the ship. And so Disney Cruise Line brought out Mickey and Minnie on the promenade deck to like wave goodbye to the town, which I thought was just like so thoughtful and nice of them to do. So like I absolutely loved that whole experience before we even got off the ship.
Like I said, the marching band came out, they shot off cannons to like welcome
terrifying.
us.
And on this one, we did another like bus tour excursion out through. We went to Calling House, which is like a castle. And we went to Christiansfeld, which was like this tiny little town, which was adorable. And again, I think a lot of people on like bus tours are scared to ask questions or engage with the tour guide too much. But definitely don't be afraid. They're showing you where they're from usually, and they're usually really passionate about it. So I always love to like get their opinions on like things. You know, what do you want to do? Our tour guide on this specific tour was telling us that like Christiansfeld, the like second town that we went to, her family used to stop in on road trips and like get a sandwich and like a honey cake, and it was that personal connection that I think like makes it really special.
She was a lot of fun. She was very eccentric.
Yes.
But I really enjoyed her, and I felt really enjoyed the two of us because we were very engaged in what she had to tell us.
Yes, because we engaged with her, there were a lot of times that I felt like we were on a private tour.
Yeah.
Like everyone else had stopped listening or like was off doing other things, and she was just like talking to us.
Yeah.
So, which was great. I didn't pay for a private tour.
No, she was really nice.
Super, super great. Also, we haven't mentioned it previously, but when it comes to gratuities for your tour guides, I am firmly of the belief that like they've spent either their whole day or a large portion of their day wrangling all of us and telling you tons of information, getting you in and out of sites, dealing with all the tickets, like driving you places. So I'm a big proponent of make sure that you tip your tour guide. Get some local currency out. You know, we were lucky on this trip, and most of the places we went accepted euros. And even if they didn't, like the tour guide was happy to like accept a tip in euros. Because they're in a touristy place, so they can go exchange it pretty easily. But it's just like, I mean, again, it's such a small thing you can do just to say like, thank you for your extra time today. And I've never had a tour guide that I thought didn't deserve it.
Yeah.
Like I said, some of these tours we went on were like 12 hours.
Yeah.
And like they've spent their whole day dealing with us.
Yeah.
It's like the least I can do is slip them like 5 or 10 euros.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like, be nice, be engaging, and make sure, even if it's not with money, make sure that they understand how grateful you are that they spent the day helping you enjoy wherever you are.
Another reason to be early for your port excursion that I just thought of is if you're first in line, you're gonna get a better seat on the bus.
Ooh. If you want to hear what the tour guide has to say, you want to be in the front of the bus. That's where the tour guide sits, that's where they'll talk the whole time, and you can hear them the best. Also, just a little moment of tour bus etiquette that we ran into on this last cruise. Whatever seat you have taken on the first time you guys are on the bus is your seat. Don't be taking other people's seats. We've never run into an issue until this last cruise. We went back on the bus and somebody had taken our seats, and I was like, where do I go?
Yeah.
Like, it was so bizarre. It was like in school, you know, you sit down and then like that's your assigned seat. It's like a bus. You sit down and that's your seat. And like, that's your seat for the day. So like, yes, get there early, get in first in line, get a good seat on the bus. And then if you didn't, then shucky darn. Just like, don't take other people's seats. And then our next day we went to Skane, Denmark. Which was great. We did the bike tour all over Skane, and that was so much fun.
That's something I will also say. Don't be afraid to put yourself a little bit out of your comfort zone. Like, we don't ride bikes in our everyday life.
No.
We both know how to ride a bike, but you know, the excursion sounded fun, so we booked it, and we were a little like nervous to go bike riding. But honestly, it was probably one of my favorite excursions we did.
Yeah, it was great. I had a great time. And again, like our tour guide spent the whole day guiding us on bikes.
Yeah.
Around Skane, Denmark.
The whole town.
Yeah, telling us all about it. It was so much fun.
It's really, really tiny. little port town.
Yeah. Well, and it's also another engaging with your tour guide. You know what I mean? Like, our tour guide there was like, oh, this place has like really good fish. Like, go over there if you want lunch afterwards. Like, they'll usually be able to recommend like some places if you have extra time. And that's exactly what we did. We went and got fish where our tour guide, she said they have really good fish over there. So we went and got fish for lunch over there. And it was great.
Yeah. And then we just spent some time like meandering around the town. Because, like I said, it was another really small port, so you were never very far away from the ship, even when you were on the other side of the town.
Yeah. Although this was good, we ran into some people who had an issue. They weren't paying attention with the fact that at this specific port, Disney had set up a free shuttle to take you from the port to town and from the town to port. And then we ran into some people who were like later talking about how they didn't have money for like the bus to get back, so they just like walked. And they didn't, I guess they weren't paying attention to the fact that Disney had set up a free shuttle for them. So always be conscious of that. Like, be aware of, like, there are certain ports. We ran into 2 on this certain cruise, but there are certain ports where, like, things might be further away. So Disney will have set up, like, a free shuttle to take you to and from places.
Yeah.
So you don't have to pay for, like, a local bus or things like that.
Yeah.
And if you're unsure, there's always cast members around on port to just, like, ask and see.
And then the next day, we were in Oslo, Norway. Oslo was really fun. We had a walking tour. We just like walked around the whole city.
Mm-hmm.
We saw like City Hall. We saw the opera house,
Mm-hmm.
the opera building.
The opera building. We saw the palace.
Mm-hmm.
We saw Akershus.
Mm-hmm. Our walking tour was not a very long excursion, honestly. So at the end, when she started taking everyone back towards the ship, we decided to just stay and continue our own little walking tour on our own, which you can do. Just let your tour guide know that that's what you're doing.
Yeah, in a situation like that where you're so close to the port, most tour guides will be like, oh, okay, yeah. You can just go off on your own, you know what I mean? And so, yeah, that's what we did. We had some shopping we wanted to do. We had some more sightseeing we wanted to do. We just peeled off and did our own thing.
We got rained on a little bit.
That was really the only day it, like, rained.
Yeah. It was funny. They have these little saunas that are boats. And when we went back to the ship, they were out in the water. And they're just these, like, boxes.
Yeah. It was so... We were sitting there thinking, like, what is that? What is that out on the water? And it was a sauna.
Yeah.
Something to know also, in Norway, if you go shopping and you have like an American passport, you can get the tax like refunded to you. So there's lots of, like, anywhere you go shopping, if you like tell them that you're American, you're from the United States, which by the way, just say I'm from the States, that's how everyone in Europe refers to America, the States, then they'll print out like a receipt that they'll want like your passport number, so you'll need to bring that. And they'll want your like name and stuff, but then you'll get the tax that you paid refunded back to you. Mm-hmm. We didn't do that because I'm a very firm believer of like, if I'm there visiting and there's tax on something, I'll just pay it and like contribute to where I am.
Yeah.
I don't need that tax thrown back at me. It's fine. But I know sometimes it can get a lot. Like some people were buying like very, very expensive things, and Norway does have high tax.
Yeah.
So I know sometimes it can get to be like a lot. But like we didn't get our tax refunded, but I know in Norway, like there were places to get it refunded near the ship. This night was also when we had Mickey's Color Spin dance party. It was like a brand new 90s themed like dance party. And that was a blast.
So much fun.
It was so much fun. All the characters came out and did the perfect cast and I died.
Yeah.
It was
really good.
It was the greatest thing. Probably my biggest tip for like any time there's a show is, so on the bigger ships, on the pool decks, there's always 2 levels. There's like the main level and then there's like an upper level. Mm-hmm. We always go to the upper level. You can see down, it's less crowded. So my tip for any show you're going on Disney Cruise is always go on the upper level rather than the lower level.
Yep. And if you happen to have fireworks on your cruise, which most do, ours did not, I think because we were so close to land the whole time. Just like if you go on an Alaskan cruise, they also don't do fireworks. Mm-hmm. If you are on a cruise that has fireworks at sea though, I recommend being on the left side of the ship or the port side of the ship, because they shoot the fireworks off from the right side, so it's easier to see.
And then the next day was another day at sea.
I think we did another cooking class. We did tuna steak.
We did bingo again. This was also the day we had to go do UK immigration this day. So like UK immigration officers came on board, and then everyone deck by deck had like assigned times to go get your documents checked in the Walt Disney Theater. So make sure if like they say you have to do that on your sailing, be prompt, be on time, get it done. No one wants to take time out of their sea day to go get like immigration done. But like, you just have to. You go do it. It took 2 seconds.
Yeah.
It wasn't complicated at all. And then we didn't have to deal with it when we got to Southampton, to the port. You didn't have to go through immigration because everyone had already gone through immigration.
Yeah. And so then the next morning, we made port in Amsterdam. And that was really cool. Actually, we had to go through a bunch of locks to get into Amsterdam, which we didn't see on the way in, but we did on the way out.
Yeah, it was cool.
It's really interesting. Most of the Netherlands is actually below sea level because they have pumped the water out to reclaim some of the land. So a lot of it is just below sea level, which is really interesting.
It was cool to be like walking below sea level.
Yeah.
It was odd.
Yeah.
It was cool.
We didn't actually spend like any time in Amsterdam. We actually had a bus tour that took us out to a couple little like fishing towns.
We went to Marken and we went to Volendam.
Very picturesque. As soon as you're out of the city, you are like in the countryside.
Yeah.
And it's really beautiful, very green, lots of like agriculture.
Cows.
Lots of cows. Lots of cows.
Lots of cows.
The
chillest cows all through Europe. All the livestock is just chill.
Yeah, they're all just laying down.
Just relaxing.
Yeah.
It was wild. Well, they weren't.
No, they were not wild.
Right.
They were domesticated.
Domesticated animals. But that was really fun. This tour we got lunch on too, which was really nice. If you can book an excursion where they give you lunch, it's always a perk.
Yeah.
This was great. We went to like a 100-year-old restaurant and had lunch. It was really nice. Let me talk for a second. So at lunch on this excursion, we were sat with some very nice people, but they were very entitled. On this specific sailing, we ran into quite a lot of, frankly, very, very wealthy people. We were definitely the poorest people there. They all seemed very entitled. They deserved this trip. Some of them seemed like they didn't even care. I mean, this is like a bucket list vacation for us, and people didn't care. And all they wanted to do was complain. Oh, I don't like the coffee. It's undrinkable. Oh, I don't like this restaurant. Oh, I don't like... Like, they just wanted to complain rather than enjoy this incredible 11-night cruise that they were on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Something that's unattainable to so many people. So I encourage everybody to don't forget how grateful you are, you know? Don't forget the opportunity you have that someone else might not. So many times on this specific cruise that we just went on, I was like completely overwhelmed with emotion because I couldn't believe we were there, and I was so grateful to be there. And then we were just like surrounded at lunch this day by people complaining, and like they weren't grateful to be there and they just didn't care. It was like, I don't know, it was so sad, honestly. So just like, I encourage you, if you're lucky enough to get to travel, if you get to go see places, never forget that that's not something you're entitled to. That's something you get to do, and it's something a lot of people wish they could. I'm very grateful for even like the little bit of traveling we get to do.
Yeah.
And I don't ever want to be the person who takes it for granted and feels like bad coffee overweighs the entire experience. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's my soapbox for the day.
After lunch, we had some free time in Volendam where we just like got to walk around, go and do some shopping. And then after that, we got back on the bus and we went to a place where they make the wooden clogs.
Cheese.
And cheese. So much cheese.
I ate so much cheese.
Yeah. So much free cheese.
Our tour guide, we had like a separate tour guide who worked at the clog and cheese place there. And like he was a riot.
He was hilarious.
So funny. Everyone who worked there was great. The people in the gift shop who were like handing out cheese, like
Yeah.
everyone was just having a great time, and it was so much fun. I absolutely loved that excursion.
Yeah. We got to paint our own little wooden clogs.
So it was like a souvenir built in
Yeah.
to the excursion that day. That was fun.
And we met the most rock star hair you will ever meet in your
Oh my
life.
god, this little bunny. It was great. Also, another pro tip, if you're going shopping, a lot of places in Europe are actually contactless now. Like, a lot of places don't want cash.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, be aware that, like, if you have a card that, like, doesn't have tap, or, like, use your phone, or, like, whatever, but, like, 9 out of 10 places we went, like, didn't want cash, didn't take cash. They wanted just, like, tap to pay.
Yeah.
So make sure you're using a card that like can tap, make sure you're using one that doesn't have an international fee, because a lot of cards will charge you like an extra 3% on top of a purchase if you're doing international, but there are cards without that. So that's a big tip for me. We take cash to tip our tour guides,
Yeah.
but that's really like all we ever use cash for. Every once in a while we'll use cash to pay for something. Like we went to like a small maker's market and I just used up the last of my cash.
Yeah. Or I think one of the stores in Volendam asked us for cash because we just bought like a sticker.
Oh yeah, because it was like such a small transaction
Yeah.
that they were like, can you just do cash? And I was like, yeah. So having cash is good, but know that like a lot of places, at least where we went, the 7 countries we went to, were like, just use your card.
Yeah.
And then the next day we went to Belgium, to Brugge.
Mm-hmm. It was really interesting. It was like stepping back in time. Our tour guide told us that 90% of the village was exactly the same as it was in the medieval times.
Yeah, that was great. And we went for another bike ride around the countryside. And this again, like the tour guide that we went on, he lived like in the area.
Yeah.
And so like it was fun because we like halfway through the bike tour we just like stopped at like this bar he really liked. And he was like, oh, get this beer. Like this is the good one from like the local area.
Yeah.
And so like, I don't know, it's those experiences, those like personal touches that make it like that much more special. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I really loved that bike ride too. And it was pretty much all out in the country, like through the farmland and...
Ooh, also, pro tip, if you want an ice water, you need to order water with ice. Ice water is confusing for like the restaurants that like we went to. On this specific excursion, it took them like 10 tries to get like ice water when they should have just said they wanted water with ice, because your drinks don't come with ice automatically. A lot of places in Europe. It's like if you want ice, you need to ask for ice, but you need to ask for ice after.
Yeah.
You can ask for like soda with ice or water with ice, because they won't just bring you ice in your drink.
No.
This is the port I alluded to earlier, where there was a bus of people. I mean, how many people were on that bus? Maybe 40 people? There were like 40
came
people.
back late.
20 minutes late.
Yeah.
There was a bus of people 20 minutes late to the ship. It was, don't be those. Don't be that. Don't do that. We were like, why haven't we left it? That's interesting.
Yeah, it was crazy.
It was 40 people.
Full bus of people. This port was interesting too because it's the other port. They had a really, really long port. So they had a shuttle that took you from the ship to like customs, and then from customs they arranged for a shuttle that took you into the city.
Yeah, it was almost like sometimes in ports you do what's called tendering. So like a little like ferry boat will show up at your ship because your ship can't actually go to the land. So like a ferry boat will pick you up at the ship and take you to the land. It was the same concept, but it was a bus.
Yeah.
A bus just like met you at your ship and took you over there.
Like a bus bridge.
Yeah. And then the next day we got to Southampton and our cruise was over.
I know.
And it was very sad. Very, very sad. I have a couple takeaways for disembarkation day. One, again, the night before, they will ask you to like pack your suitcases and put your tags on it, and they will collect your bags, they will take care of it, and they will deal with all of your luggage. The only reason to not utilize that service is if you have to get off of the ship early.
Yeah.
then your bags might not have cleared customs in time. So like if you need to leave the ship early because you have an early transfer or some other reason, then it's fine to keep your bags with you. But so many people go to like late breakfast and they don't need to leave the ship early, but they have all of their bags with them.
Yeah.
And like, don't do that. It's gonna be easier for you. Keep, like a backpack on you, or like, each of us will usually have a day bag that we have on disembarkation day because we've got like the clothes we wore to dinner and like our pajamas and like a couple toiletries that we needed in the morning. But like all of our other bags are gone off the ship because I'm not leaving the ship early, so I'll just let them deal with the luggage.
Yeah.
I always get confused by the people who take all of their, they'll have like 5 suitcases that they wheel to breakfast with them.
Well, and you have to remember that everyone on the entire ship is going to be in the same places at the same time that morning. So having your luggage with you is going to make it feel even more congested than it already is. Because, truthfully, once you leave your room that morning, there's really not usually an opportunity for you to go back to your room.
Right.
If you don't have to get off the ship early, just put your bags out the night before like they tell you to.
Yeah. Something else that happened on this cruise that was really nice because this cruise was so long was laundry service.
Yeah.
That was so nice. So we had only packed, there's laundry facilities on the ship, so we had only packed clothes for half of this trip because we were going to do laundry and then continue on with the rest of our trip. And then they had a laundry service twice on this cruise, so you could fill up your laundry bag with 30 items, and then they would go take it for $25 and go do your laundry for you and then bring it back. And that was really nice because sometimes doing your laundry on the ship, finding a machine, and also don't take people's things out of a washing machine. Someone took our clothes out of the washing machine, and that's really not okay. Really rude.
And then didn't even use the washing machine.
Yeah, anyway. But the laundry service was really nice. I was happy to utilize that, and I would again.
Yeah. And I think, kind of like Thomas was just saying, be mindful of doing laundry on the ship because it can be difficult because there are a limited number of machines. And it seemed like everyone had the same idea to do laundry at the exact same time that we decided to do laundry.
Yeah.
So we kind of trekked all over the ship trying to find a free washer and dryer.
Yeah. The next day, they did the second laundry service of the cruise, and I wish we had just waited and done that. It would have just been easier.
But we didn't know.
We didn't. And it was fine. We found machines.
Yeah.
It was fine. But, using the laundry service, if you can afford, the $25 for them to do your laundry, I think it's totally worth it.
Yeah. It was nice.
Another big tip I have specifically for Southampton is I thought the train station was much further away than it was. If you're taking the train from Southampton to, Heathrow, or you're taking the train from Southampton just to London city center like we were, the train station's totally walkable. So if you're ambulatory and can take your bags, it wasn't a far walk. It was totally easy. So I know a lot of people caught cabs or transfers or things like that to get to the train station, but I definitely don't think you need to.
No.
Just walk.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest things I can always recommend on any cruise, no matter how long or short it is get to know your crew. Get to know your stateroom host, the person who's cleaning the room, giving you those awesome towel animals. Get to know the people who are serving you at dinner. You have a server, you have a section manager, and you have a drink server. So get to know all of them. They, one, are all people.
Yeah.
Who are delightful. And two, I feel the better you get to know them, the better they help make your vacation.
Yes.
Because they know you better, they know what you like, what you don't like. It's always better to get to know them. This last cruise was so long and we got to know our team so well. It honestly felt like saying goodbye to friends.
Yeah.
It was really, I got emotional.
Yeah.
It was really hard. Our stateroom host, her name was Nicole. She was from Jamaica. Incredible.
Yeah.
Such a blast. We talked to her every day outside in the hallway, just laughing and joking, and she was so incredible. Our dining staff, our section manager's name was Rexon, and he was super nice. And then our main servers, our assistant server was Christian, and he was great. He was from Mexico. It was fun every day that he got to go off the ship, It was fun to listen to him like talk about going off for like a couple hours.
Yeah.
Like coming back on.
Yeah.
And then our main server's name was Jocelyn. He was from India, and he was just great. So much fun.
Yeah, they were really great. The last day of our cruise, as we were, well, I guess before we were disembarking, Nicole, our stateroom host, actually asked us for a hug because we had made such a connection with her. So.
Yeah, it really, honestly, like, it makes such a difference getting to know these people. I mean, they're people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we always make a point on any Disney cruise to get to know our team, even if it's like a 3-night cruise. You know, get to know them, joke around, have fun, tell each other, like, get to know each other.
Yeah.
It's just gonna make everyone's experience, yours and theirs, better.
I couldn't agree more. They're such an integral part of your cruise.
Yes, the people make it that much more special. And I think a lot of people lose sight of that. We had an incredible team, and I, like, miss them.
Yeah, they were a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm. And when, on that same note, gratuities on the cruise are always auto-included, which I like. Tipping those people we just mentioned, your stateroom host, the section manager, your main server, and your assistant server, is not optional, which I really enjoy. Mm-hmm. They will just charge you, and you can look up online. I think it's like $35 per person per day.
I'm not sure. Something like that.
But they will automatically charge you a gratuity
Mm-hmm.
to give to them, which I think is great because they 100% deserve it. And then you always have the option to tip more.
Yeah.
If you want, if you think they've done incredible service, if you think they've gone above and beyond, you always have the option to tip more, but know that you will at least be charged that minimum gratuity fee, which is completely fair.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, and then they will also give you comment cards at the end of your cruise, just asking you about your overall experience. Make sure you fill those out. Make sure they get turned into the correct place because it's really important for the jobs of the people that we're helping you.
Mm-hmm. If you've had someone who's really incredible, like it'll ask like, what was their name? And so it really does make a difference. Disney is all about incredible customer service and like all of that. So they really do look at those comment cards really carefully, and they make sure that like people's promotions and things like that, they really can depend on your feedback. Ooh, another pro tip is, we haven't mentioned before, but at dinner, always ask your server for their recommendation.
Yeah, especially on this cruise, I waited to hear Jocelyn's recommendations pretty much every night before I decided what I was gonna get for dinner.
Yeah, they try everything on the menu. And because they know that like when you fill out that comment card at the end, if you like didn't enjoy their recommendations, like that feedback goes directly onto them.
Yeah.
So like they specifically will recommend things that they think are actually very good on the menu, like their favorite things that they think you'll enjoy. So like it's always worth asking their recommendation because it's probably going to be really good.
Yeah, and don't forget they have a lot of years of experience typically with these menus, so they've seen what most people like, what most people don't like. It's not just their opinion.
Oh, totally. We've been on sailings before where, you know, someone in our, when we went on a cruise with our family, our little brother ordered something and the server was like, are you sure you want that? Because just most people don't end up liking that dish. And like, it was nice, you know? It's nice, like, that honesty.
Yeah.
Of like, are you sure you want that? Because like, most people don't enjoy that. Like, you can get it, but like, does anything else look good? Maybe this one, you know what I mean? And then he brought him out the pasta dish that he ordered, but then also brought another dish and was like, you're probably gonna like this one better.
Yeah.
So it's nice to know you can count on like their honesty for what food is the best on the menu.
Or there was a night on this cruise where we ordered a dessert and Jocelyn was like, maybe choose something else.
Yeah.
And so then I was like, okay, well, what would you recommend? And then he recommended something that I was like, I don't really like chocolate or caramel. What else?
I know. And that's our trip to Europe. Some things that like some things we learned, some new tips and tricks, you know, things because we had so much time on this specific cruise. But a lot of it I think is just like reiterating some things that we already knew, some things that maybe we've already said in another video, but I think it's worth repeating. It was such an incredible cruise. I can't believe we got to do that.
I know. I might never get to go again, but like,
I know.
it was amazing.
It was unbelievable. And now I feel just like I do after I leave any Disney cruise. Like, when's the next one?
Yeah.
When's the next one? We put a placeholder down, so we will be going on another, which like we already knew about.
If you don't know what a placeholder is, it's just you pay $250 while you're on your cruise, and then you get 10% off of your next cruise that you book within. You have to be sailing within 2 years of your placeholder.
So we always do a placeholder because we know we're going to go on another cruise in at least 2 years.
Yeah.
So I can't wait to see when our next Disney cruise is. The other day I opened up the Navigator app and like it didn't have any bookings on it and it made me very sad.
I'm sure we'll go on one sometime soon.
I hope so. Anyway, thanks for watching. We hope that helped with an upcoming Disney cruise. Maybe you're getting to go to Northern Europe on a cruise.
If so lucky.
Yeah, congratulations. That's
It's
just
a
like so
blast.
great.
So until next time,
Keep on exploring.